What is going on, y'all? My name's Alan Sheriff, aka Alan, the Sheriff of all things innovative, and we're about to get into another episode of Getting Messy with Tech. So check it out real quick before I even get started, because I want to talk about this whole situation with Scarlett Johansson and Sam Altman. I don't know what's going on with how this beef is influencing people out here, and I'm talking specifically about the Kendrick Lamar and Drake beef, but it is doing things to people. And I mean, it is doing things to people, bruh. Like, I was just out in Frederick not too long ago at a bar. I'm sitting there just relaxing with a friend. I'm getting ready to support him, because he loves doing karaoke. All of a sudden, this white dude walks up, puts on a J. Cole song, and starts saying the N-word. And I'm like, yo, you need to relax. Listen. I don't know what this beef is doing to people. I don't know what type of energy it's giving off. I don't know why it's making people feel like they can do things that was suddenly off limits in the past, but y'all need to relate. Y'all need to get some therapy. Y'all need to cool it. And it wasn't just him. There were plenty of people that just started putting on hip hop songs and just freestyling to them. And I'm like, yo, I get it. Y'all are feeling yourselves. Y'all are upcoming rappers in Frederick. Y'all got to make a name for yourselves. But yo, y'all don't have to be doing all that. You know what I mean? You don't have to be posing for the camera, bro. I don't know. I'm starting to get concerned. I think y'all need to just stop. And part of that makes me never want to go back to Frederick again. But anyway, that is that. I don't even. So I'm sitting there literally watching the dude. He looks kind of confused too after he said it, and I'm like, yeah, don't do that again. As soon as the verse came up and he blanked on the N-word, I was like, yeah, keep that same flow, keep that same energy. Oh man, the things you gotta do to help save people nowadays. But anyway, yo, I don't know why things are getting so toxic this year, but it's not just hip hop, y'all. This past week, the latest beef just kicked off between Scarlett Johansson and OpenAI CEO Sam Altman, where it's been alleged that he ended up using her voice in the latest updated version of ChatGPT 4.0. It was reported that Sam reached out to Scarlett Johansson last year, right in September, and to ask her to be the voice of his new AI assistant named Sky, one of the few other voices that were made available on ChatGPT's update. And I mean, it's no surprise why, right? I mean, not only did Scarlett Johansson host an AI assistant voice in the 2013 hit movie called Her, but Sam thought that using her voice would kind of help, quell that anxiety that's been, not only very prevalent in the film industry due to, the rise of this AI tech within the film space, but also amongst many creatives all around the world. It's given a lot of us anxiety about, what type of jobs the AI is going to be taking within the industry, how it's going to be impacting people moving forward, whether or not they're going to get compensated, things of that sort. And it's just been really insane. So he thought, you know what, let me bridge the gap, just based off this movie and just based off, the relationship I can build with Scarlett over time. Well, guess what? It didn't work out. Scarlett was like, I'm not having it. She declined the offer. She was like, I want none of this. And then Sam ended up releasing the new ChatGPT update on May 13, which not only featured a voice that sounded very eerily similar to her own, but he also dropped a tweet mentioning the movie Her, which was very suspect. So we're gonna get into it. I felt some type of way about it too. It was kind of weird, but we're definitely gonna get into it. Basically, not too long after that, I believe it was May 20th, Scarlett Johansson and her lawyers dropped a statement not only detailing everything that led up to this, but demanding an explanation of the process that Sam and his team used to create the voice, which also caused Sam to put a pause on the use of the voice after she dropped the statement, because he was like, yeah, Scarlett, we're friends. We're good. I didn't mean to do this. I didn't mean for it to sound like you. Bruh, come on, bruh. If you ended up putting out the voice and then you decide to put a pause on it just because of how she feels, we're going to get into it during the episode, but it's weird, right? Because the only thing that came into my head was, why would you act like you care now when your communication wasn't consistent with her throughout this entire designing process of the voice? Give me a break. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to get into it, but a little bit of history. Obviously, this company doesn't need too much of an introduction, y'all. OpenAI was founded in 2015, originally as a non-profit organization dedicated to developing artificial intelligence that can exceed the performance of humans through a variety of different tasks. Now, for some of y'all out there who aren't as familiar with artificial intelligence and stuff like that, or at least just not sure of what it means when it comes to your mind, the way I like to put it, which is just the bare minimum understanding behind it is it's just computers or machines having the ability to perform very complex tasks. And we're trying to get to a point where we can get to AGI, right? Where computers can perform the same tasks at the same level as humans can, or at least much better than we can, right? So some of the products they've designed over the years include ChatGPT, something that you're probably using right now to cheat on your school essay, an intelligent chatbot, which is exactly what it is. They got DALL-E that can create images based on your own text input commands and things of that sort. They got Whisper and they got Codex, and many more updated versions of these tools have been provided as, you know, this organization has been able to improve and progress over the years. So here we are in 2024, where they've released the most updated version of ChatGPT 4.0, Sam Altman's first attempt to bring Samantha, the AI assistant from the hit movie Her, into real life. So let's just jump right in, y'all. Let's keep it real. Did they use Scarlett Johansson's voice? I don't think that they, at least from what I'm starting to see on social media, right? People are saying that there might have been a process by which Sam was taking clips of like Scarlett Johansson in interviews and maybe some clips from the movie Her in order to help, you know, spice up the process of creating this AI system voice, kind of using all of that, all of those inputs, using all of those clips, that audio, and trying to help create the AI voice based off of that. I don't think they did that. So technically, no, I don't think that he used Scarlett's voice, but there was a process that was outlined at the company. And I believe also Joanne Zhang, who is also working at OpenAI, also mentioned the process by which they used the they worked with in order to create the voice. I think they mentioned how they were using audio samples to train other voice actors that they hired in order to get a sense of how they wanted the voice to work. And that's the crazy part, right? Because then we get into a conversation about, you know, how there was an intention to imitate. And I'm going to refer to a case later on about this, because the idea is that if you had an intention to imitate, well, then that's pretty bad, right? Because even though you're not using someone's voice, even though you're not using someone's like likeness directly, you're still trying to, in some type of way, mimic that person's, you know, likeness, their voice, their everything that comes with who they are as an individual. And that in and of itself can be problematic. So no, I don't think that, you know, they used her voice directly, but you can honestly imagine how the training session must have been, right? Between the OpenAI staff and some of the actors that they hired to come in to do the voice for this AI assistant. Or the actor, I think they pointed out. I think it was just one actor. I don't think it was multiple, but you can imagine how hilarious it must have been, right? They were just like, yo, it has to sound like this, all right? Don't you understand that we're trying to piss off Scarlett Johansson here? You must make it sound like this. And it's crazy because if you listen to the voice, it does kind of sound like her. Here, let's play something real quick. Take a listen to this,
Hey,
y'all.
how's it going?
Hey, Rocky. I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm awesome. Listen, I got some huge news.
Oh, do tell. I'm all ears.
Well, in a few minutes, I'm going to be interviewing at OpenAI. Have you heard of them?
OpenAI? Huh? Sounds
You're going to like this part. Listen.
kidding, of course. That's incredible, Rocky. What kind of interview?
Bruh, I'm telling you, bruh, if you go watch the movie Her, it sounds just like Scarlett Johansson. The laughter, the softness of her voice, everything. I'm sorry, I'm foaming at the mouth right now. But I'm telling you, if you go watch the movie Her, bruh, that's literally all you hear. You just hear her, you know, just kind of, I'm telling you, you hear the softness of her voice. You hear her laughter. It all sounds the same. I feel like if OpenAI didn't want to try and, you know, make this voice sound similar to Scarlett Johansson so that they wouldn't get sued or have any problems with her, they probably would have taken, you know, a voice of an 80-year-old woman, you know, or like a woman who's like in her late 20s or something like that. That's like has a very high-pitched voice. You know what I mean? Like, yo, we want no beef with y'all out here. Like, we really mess with y'all actors. But they didn't do that. They went and found a woman that sounded just like Scarlett Johansson, softness of her voice, same type of laughter, same type of playful mannerism. I'm telling you right now, it's not a joke. This sounds just like her. Anyway, that's just my personal opinion. Now, the next question, right? Would I let this company use my voice? Nah, not really, because I think that there are things that voice actors need to take into consideration in this day and age. There was a time where I felt like, you could probably do that and there wouldn't be too many far-reaching implications, but I think that artists need to be careful about the way in which they move nowadays when it comes to how AI uses their likeness and their voice and their personalities and images and things of that sort, because a lot of that can be used in a way where you might not personally like that, and you probably need to be asked, people need to ask you constant permission about how they're even able to use your voice and stuff like that. But when you don't have that, when you don't have that type of control, especially from the outset where a contract is probably drafted and they say, hey, we just want your voice and we can use it however we want. You can get this amount of money up front or whatever it is. I think people need to be careful when they're making those types of, when people set those types of things up, because you never know. I mean, your voice could literally be used to, endorse P. Diddy for president. You probably use that to endorse that man in the campaign. You wouldn't even know. It's crazy, but I'm telling you, a lot of people out here, they just don't care. And who knows, that man P. Diddy just might be next to, run for president. I mean, he's already on a spiral right now. He's about to be on his Donald Trump in a little bit, bro. So, yeah, that's crazy. Does this voice sound like Scarlett Johansson's? Yes, I hear a lot of the similarity. And I think that, moving forward, it really would be important for companies to consider how they're treating artists that they want to be on a good page with. Because when you use someone's voice, when you use their likeness, when you use these different types of things that are associated with these people, you have to understand not only how it's going to, you not only have to understand how it's going to impact your own company, but how it's going to impact that individual and the relationship, especially the relationships of the person whom you're trying to imitate, or the voice, the likeness, these things that you take and adopt, when it comes from a person who has a very strong relationship or a strong impact on the culture that they're within, you need to understand how you're going to be affecting those people as well. And obviously this hasn't worked out too well for them. A lot of people are on Scarlett Johansson's side, and this could spell a very, very bad name for this company. So yeah, I mean, again, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Let's be completely honest. OpenAI, they paused this program. They paused the use of Scarlett Johansson's voice in this program because they were just like, we're not sure if the way in which we went about it, at least this is just how I personally feel. We're not sure if the way in which we went about it was technically the best, and we know we could still probably get sued for it. That's just me being completely honest, because again, there's a bit of an intention to imitate. I mean, if you look at a case that I'm about to talk to for a little bit right now, right? If you look at the case of Midler versus Ford, a case that was brought before a court where, Betty Midler sued, the Ford company because they decided to use the voice, use an individual who imitated Betty's voice, and they decided to use that in their string of ads. When Betty came at them and took them to court, she ended up winning. Why? Because there was the intention to imitate and use her voice in a space where, people felt like, where she felt like, you can't just do that. You can't just, even though you're not using my exact voice, there is still a close connection and association between me and what exactly it is that you're trying to do. And listen, the U.S., listen, the court decision, they weren't playing no games, straight up, you can't do this. This is completely, at least in my personal opinion, this is pretty unethical and it's not right. And you are trying to get around the system. And that's that's exactly what these companies will try and do nowadays, because they're trying to save money. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to say like I'm a diehard socialist or anything. I mean, y'all know how I feel from time to time about how these companies operate. But, I'm not out here, riding hard for, these companies or particular individuals. All I'm trying to say is that there needs to be a leveled playing field, and these people need to understand that when they try to take advantage of other individuals, there will be ramifications for that. And you're setting the stage with these, these court decisions, with these precedents, right? You're setting the stage for, not only yourself as an organization, not only your representation, but, overall how people will feel about you moving forward. So, Yeah, honestly, I can say right now that the real issue between Sam and Scarlett Johansson during this process of him deciding to use her voice is that, I believe that Sam honestly just, I'm at this point where I feel like Sam has a bit of an ego. I think the reason why he probably decided to use her voice was not only because he felt like he wanted to, kind of bridge this gap, right, between AI companies and creators and artists of the like, but, he got obsessed with the fantasy, this film idea of her, right, where he was bringing it into reality. Like, otherwise he wouldn't have like focused so much on the film and Scarlett Johansson as well, right? Because it's coming back, right? This information about how he contacted her in September about, trying to use her voice for the AI assistant that he currently has for this new update for ChatGPT 4.0. And she said no. And then he was working up to it. He was building it. At least from what I'm hearing now at this point, the team that he put together in order to, cast the actors and do research on how he wanted to create the personality for this AI voice, all of that. He worked on it, and then as soon as he was done, he tried to hit her up one more time, which is insane because it's like, and then obviously before she even had a chance to respond, because he wasn't going to wait because he was extremely impatient, he just decided to drop it. And that's what prompted her to drop this statement, right? And my thing is, Sam, he kind of went about it in such an egotistical and irresponsible way because it's like I was saying earlier, you need to understand how your actions are not only going to impact this individual, but their family and their relationships. I mean, Scarlett Johansson literally pointed out in her statement that people were coming up to her and they were saying, yo, especially family and friends, yo, this sounds just like you. And did you play a part in this? And those individuals, they might have their own perspectives, their own ideas about how AI is impacting artists or whatever it is, and they'll have their criticisms and they'll automatically jump to assumptions about people. And people like Scarlett Johansson don't need to be dealing with that in their everyday life. It's like, yo, from the outset, you need to move responsibly as an AI company. You need to understand how you're impacting people. You need to understand what it means to be using people's voices, their likeness, all these different things. You need to understand how using that moving forward will impact people's lives. And overall, I just feel like Sam should have been a bit more responsible. I don't think that this was ethical in any type of way. I get it. You're probably an accelerationist like a lot of these other people out here, but the way in which he went about doing it was just it was childish and it was irresponsible. And that kind of leads me into my next point, right? About whether or not Scarlett Johansson would even have a case against him if she decided to sue him for this voice. I think she would have a pretty good chance of winning. I think that this obviously should be left up to her lawyers, 100%. I mean, you know what I mean? I'm not her lawyer, but I just think she would have a pretty good case, from Sam constantly contacting her to, him deciding to, put out tweets, on Twitter talking about her mentioning the movie and things of that sort. It's like, it's veering too close to her. And I don't even think it helped his case, by him deciding with his OpenAI team, that is, if he was a part of the process, that they would use these audio bites that they would want to train actors whom they brought in, that they casted to create this AI voice to learn off of. Because it's like, oh, so then what was the audio? What was the audio that you were using to train these actors? What was it comprised of? Like, who was it based off of? Like, what, where was this? Because I'm pretty sure they're probably going to think, yeah, they were using audio bites from Scarlett Johansson. So it's like, come on now. And that's the only reason why he probably ended up taking it down. So I'm concerned. I really am concerned. And that kind of just leads me to my final point about all this, right? Is I think companies need to be careful about, this type of ambiguity around the legal ramifications of their actions. I think they need to stop just, trying to come in and do so much disruption when it comes to, using people's voices, their likeness, anything that they would need from other individuals to, train their AI on, because government's moving really slow. The process is really slow. and they're moving so quick, and people are feeling like they're being taken advantage of out here. And it's just not right. It's not right to be treating people this way, and you don't want to be known as a company for having that type of reputation of taking advantage of people. It's not healthy. It's not right. And so there needs to be a process. You know, I know that SAG-AFTRA is kind of working on the process of introducing legislation to protect artists, you know, in order to protect artists moving forward based on these types of situations. And it's just not a good look for OpenAI if they continue moving forward and trying to do things like this. Obviously, hopefully they don't. You know what I mean? Because with Sam deciding to take down the voice, it kind of shows that he's moving towards the right direction. But it's just with everything that he's trying to say and him trying to prove at this point that he didn't use Scarlett's voice, it's like, bro, it's not helping your case. You're kind of making yourself look worse, just based off everything that I said earlier. So yeah, again, like I said, it's all fishy. I hope that Sam offers, you know, the sincerest apology possible to Scarlett, and hopefully everything will work out well at the end. But I don't know. Those are just my thoughts. Let me know what y'all think about in this comment section. Thanks so much for tuning into this episode. Thank you so much for, you know, watching all the way through. Again, you can find us on all podcast hosting sites. Make sure that you continue to check us out here on the YouTube channel as well. You know what I'm saying? Leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that. You know what I'm saying? Fall in love with us. You know, dedicate your whole life. Dedicate your whole life to us, because we're going to be back here every single time giving y'all the updates that y'all need to survive in this ever-evolving world of tech, and we're going to make it as messy as possible so that y'all can enjoy it. So appreciate y'all tuning in. Make sure y'all follow us on IG too, Messy with Tech, YouTube right here, Messy with the Tech, and follow your boy, Alan Sheriff on IG. Appreciate y'all. Thank you so much, and we're out.